Hello and welcome. Trying to find the right buttons. buttons, pushing buttons. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for being up. Are you up today? Are you bright? How are you feeling today? Let me know in the comments. Definitely give me a thumbs up. And if you are watching this on YouTube, subscribe. And let me know and do a like, do those likes and subscribing and whatever we're supposed to be doing to allow for the algorithm to do its algorithmic way. So for those who are watching the replay, my name is Mary Jane Tracy, psychic medium, spiritual love of life coach, and a person who likes to look at the shenanigans of the planets to see what they are up to each and every day, because they're always doing something that is a little bit crazy. So today, the moon, it's moved into Cancer. For me, that is a breath of fresh air. Having all that Gemini energy is great, but it can be exhausting and overwhelming for many people, because that was a lot of Gemini energy over, you're mowing the grass. God bless you. It was a bit. So we have that moon. It's gone into, it's about 10 degrees, 8 degrees right now. I'll probably be 10 degrees by the end of the day. And it is bringing in some, positive energy for us to get through. I think we're really wanting to burst into something that is new. We're tired of the old. We're wanting to try something that is different and look into things differently than what we have been. I think, with us being all in COVID, it's really taken a toll for many of us, and wanting to get back to somewhat normalcy. But I know that normalcy, when you look at it, when you look at the world today and you see what's going on, right? So we see what's going on, but when you see all those places that pollution, since we have not been out doing our shit, you can see mountains, people can breathe the air, and people are like, I want to go back to the way it was. Like, why the fuck would you want to go back to the way it was when you can see how much damage we were doing, right? And I think this is like a wake-up call, but a lot of people don't want to answer the call, because that means there's work to be done. There's work to be done in how we need to change a lot of things, and especially how we consume, being that consumer. How are we consuming? How have you consumed differently over the past 10 weeks? What is it that you've been doing differently that was just a part of your normalcy before? So it could have been, maybe you ate out a lot before, and now you're not. You're cooking meals. Maybe now you're thinking about, I got to plant a garden, and maybe you never even thought about planting a garden before. Maybe it's now like you're thinking about, maybe I do need to stock up on some really good things in my house instead of having, a lot of shit. Or if you haven't, maybe it's time that you do. This wake-up call that we are receiving, or the world has been receiving, is looking at especially our food chain. Our food chain is a big one. And as we're coming into the summer months, on how we are consuming and where we are buying our food. The thing is that when we begin to see how fragile the food chain is, we can begin to awaken to looking at things differently. We can look at things in a whole new way. Not everybody's techie. Not everybody wants to be sitting in front of a computer all day. Many people love to get their hands dirty. They love to create things. And, that is something where you have to start thinking outside of the box. And if you do live in an apartment, maybe you know somebody who has a house and has a backyard, and they don't want to get their hands dirty. And you say, hey, can I, build something in your backyard and do some gardening? This is a way maybe you need to join the permaculture club in your area. Learn more about how the land works. Get involved in different ways. These are the things that need to start to happen, because going back to the planets and how things are going to lay out, we are going to see food shortages. We are going to see those. And a lot of people don't want to believe that, or they like, oh yeah, that's just a bunch of bogus, and we're all, it's always going to be the same, and we're always going to be able to go in there and buy our chickens at Safeway. No, you're not. You're not. This is where, even with that moon coming into Cancer, and I'm going to relate this back to the astrology, and even though with all of this happening and Saturn sort of sitting there, nothing is really aspecting Saturn right now. It's getting us to sort of like, okay, so what do you want to do for the long term? What does that look like? What does that feel like for the long term? And this is where people start to like, oh, what do I want to do? And begin to start to put those in motion. And I mean, sounds like a repetitive thing that I keep saying to you, but it is what we have to do to awaken, to create something new. When you wake up and you haven't been able to see the mountains in 20 years, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you're able to see mountains. When you are able to go outside and breathe the air freely and without having to worry about anything else besides that other thing. But this is where it's like, oh, well, what can we do? How can we make things in a more environmentally sound way that works in harmony with the earth? And it's going back to a lot of the organic farmers. What are they doing? People who have free range, like chickens, who actually go around and just be a chicken and not be caged. There is, you're seeing, I saw this horrific picture of these chickens being, it was just disgusting. But it was just so unnatural. It was so unnatural. They were all dying. And that's because they can't get the chickens to the slaughterhouses. They can't get the chickens to the slaughter, and then they can't get them to the processing. Here, there's ideas about, where you can use, have the chickens there and have, and be able to utilize every single part of the chicken and fertilize not only the ground, but, be able to put it back. Anyways, I know some of you guys are vegetarians and vegans, like, that's gross. Well, I'm sorry, what are you going to do with the dead chickens? It's all part of the cycle. It's all part of the life. It is all part of how we are intertwined with every single part of this world. And we have even disassociated ourselves even more. And, you can't, it's just certain things that they did was just sort of, crazy. It's like you allowed liquor stores open, but you weren't allowed people to have AA meetings. Right? You closed farmer markets, for people to go buy fresh produce. Nobody's talking about the immune system. How are you boosting your immune system? What are you doing? This is where this energy is coming in and saying, hey, how are you taking care of your health? How are you taking care of yourself? What are you doing to activate something positive in your life in a new way? Again, I'll show you, like I started the Energy Sea and I put it in my water this morning. And it has the acai, and it has all of that vitamins and stuff like that. Put it in my water and I drink it up. It's easy for me. Making sure that I have my vitamin D, fish oils, things like that. So what are you doing to, eat clean? What does eating clean mean? The thing is that the funny thing is that our body has been so used, many people's bodies have been so used to the processed food that when you start eating clean, people get diarrhea, they get really upset stomach and stuff like that. So when you start to eat clean, your body, you got to do it in a slow way. You got to be able to allow this energy to come into your body, because it's bringing in the light back into your body from the darkness that's there. So it's allowing for your body to come alive again. And you can eat clean. And I'm just like, you know, I'm not bashing the vegans or the vegetarians. I mean, you can eat clean in any type of diet by eating fresh vegetables, you know, making sure that you have, you know, where do you buy your meat from? Like, a hamburger should not be 99 cents. What the fuck? That should not be. I've been taking care of my gut health. Yeah, taking care of your gut health is so important. Like, if you think about it, how much fecal matter, and this is going to kill you guys, when you eat one of those McDonald's, if people eat McDonald's hamburgers or things like that, it's because those cows and stuff and where they get the meat from, they're not properly raised, and they're shot up with hormones, and they're shot up with everything else. But when you get a really beautiful animal that was raised on a farm with love and care and the whole bit, and is grass fed, you're going to get a lot of more healthier foods. The other thing is that with the energies coming in, is starting to make us look and realize, how can we put nutrients back into our soil in a positive way? And there's so many ways of doing that. So many ways that we can do that. And we can do it by looking at so many ways. I don't know who's up telling Mateus what to do. Anyways, so many ways of doing that, by composting, by, you know, because they say we only have 60 seasons left before we have no proper soil left on Earth, right? So this is like, I think, a huge wake-up call, and for us to start getting into the vibrations of the changes that we need to start making into our world, and making around us, and opening up into something that is new and vibrant within ourselves. And when we can start looking into things that are new and vibrant, and start taking more responsibility for how we consume, is going to be making a new impact on the world, and can make the changes where, do you want to be back in lockdown or not? And that's where we can, and that's where, you know, when we have Saturn just sitting there saying, okay, what choices do you want to make? What choices do you want to make? But it scares people. It scares us, because there's so many people out there with fear. You see that when you go shopping. You see that when when you go out, people are they're just so fearful, and they get blinders on, right? And they get those blinders on. So we need to improve our gut health. We need to improve, you know, we're going back in lockdown. People aren't keeping a social distancing. Well, it's like, Candace, you're here with me every single day. Yeah, by mid-October, we're definitely going to be probably back down in lockdown, or if not, something else. You know, there's going to be things that are going to be happening to us, right? I meditate and imagine the spirit of the animals free and happy. When unsure, it was free range before I eat it. Yeah, exactly. Just hang on. Eddie keeps talking. Eddie, it's mine. Okay, can I finish doing what I'm doing?
I'm not yelling at you.
Okay.
Why are you getting mad?
So just close my door, dear. Children. So now he has to leave tomorrow. This is so Gemini. All of a sudden, I got to do all this stuff. Anyways, children, I love them. But it's us making better choices for us. Yeah, Barbie, you know, that's true. I'm going to show you things. So, you know, meditate, imagine, you know, animals being free range. where Candace was saying about her gut health and taking care of gut health is very important. And I don't think it's so much about, people aren't keeping distance. Some people don't really give a shit, out there, when you go into places. Uh, I'm not. Why are you mad? Exactly. Why are you mad? It's like, why are you asking questions right now? It's like, I'm not mad. Just, he's going out to get his hair cut. This is what I love. This is live in my house. He's going out to get a haircut, but who has their laundry still in the thing? I gotta do my laundry. Well, you're going to get your hair cut. The laundry will be out by the time you get home back from he's going. So I guess some barbers are open now. So anyways, hey, some barbers are open. So so this is just I just, anyways, lost my train of thought there. But the moon is making some good aspects over to Mars, wanting to motivate us, want us to get things together, but it needs to be now. Yes, it needs to be now. I know, it needs to be now. Oh my gosh, kids. Fuck. But we are making some really interesting energies. Like, Neptune or Pluto and Jupiter just want us to go deeper into it all and get deeper into what we need to be doing as consumers, as we are going forward into this global transitioning in the world and taking this new look into the world around us. As I say, by August there are going to be a lot of shortages, but the thing is that we can do a lot of things to counteract that and begin to counteract that. Even looking at small butcher shops. Somebody was saying, we're discussing it and they're saying, oh, but then now everything's going to go up in price. But here's the thing. If you have to pay, the thing is that Costco's cheap. Why is Costco so cheap? Like, if you think about it, you got to think of where they're buying their steak and their meat and stuff. And everybody says, oh, it's great, it's wonderful. But where are they getting it from? You see, that's the thing. It's like, and when you start looking at it, here it is. We have a good local butcher. He's a cowboy. Right on. This is where when you pay more, you'll pay less. Now, there's a stat that, and I think this came from my Joe Rogan when I was watching Joe Rogan. The stat came where 30 years ago or 40 years ago, 18% of our money spent was on food. 9% was spent on health. Today it's changed. 9% goes on food and 18% goes on health. So this is like, whoa. It's like even where I've seen a study done where they started to, back in the 1920s, a study was done to begin to look at the nutrients in salads, the foods that you put in, so your lettuce, your tomatoes, cucumbers, and things that you put in your salad. So nutrients back in the 20s was really high. So they did the 20 years for 20, then they went into the 40s and they looked at, okay, nutrients went down just a little bit. Well, pesticides were starting to be really introduced in the 40s. Then they go into the 80s. It actually dropped below half by the 80s of the same nutrients in the plants. They're coming from the same area. So it was a very controlled testing for this testing. And then now we're going into our food. A lot of times our food doesn't have those nutrients in it anymore. That's why people have to buy supplements and everything else, because they're not getting the proper nutrients. The soil doesn't have the nutrients. How does the soil get proper nutrients? Composting, how we, going in, actually wood chips and stuff like that are actually really good for the soil and bringing those, when you're chopping, burning, I remember we used to burn every year, and putting that into the soil and bringing that into the soil, that carbon, because that's what the soil needs, and bringing those nutrients back into the soil. So things like that, learning how the soil can absorb the moisture, like even in drought. And if the soil can absorb the moisture, then of course, then your plants are going to grow even in a drought season. But right now, the soil can't hold that moisture. So this is where it's like, okay, it might cost you more, but it's going to cost you less in other things that you have to pay out, whether, when it comes to your health, when it comes to taxes, when it comes to other things that we don't think about, that are all put upon us when we are not eating well or consuming our foods in a proper way. So I don't have stats. I'm not a pro at this. It's just something that I began to really look into a lot more and start to really think about, how am I consuming and wanting to consume better foods in my diet, and wanting to get healthier. Like one of my, I mentioned to her a while ago, and I said to her, you have to start getting healthy and really eating healthy. I'm really concerned because you're going to, things are going to start to deteriorate. Why do you get why do people get like osteoporosis, or you have to get your gallbladder removed, or people have fibromyalgia? Things like that are all, some of them, yes, are psychological, but a lot also has to do with eating. A lot has to do with your mental well-being. If you're mentally not well, sometimes it has to do with your eating. A lot of times when you're not feeling well, what are you doing? You're eating a bag of chips, right? Or you're consuming something, a bunch of chocolate, not good chocolate, like you're eating Hershey chocolate bars and shit like that, and ice cream. So, and I'm not saying you can have that once in a while, but if you're consuming that every single day, right? And here this energy is coming in that's really shining a light on us to say, hey, how do you want to feel? And let's looking into it. And it's like, well, if I feel healthy, then I'm going to feel happier. If I feel happier, then I'm going to be maybe more productive in my life. I'm going to be able to have clearer thoughts, be able to create the things I want to create. But if I'm feeling like shit and I'm dragging my ass and I'm feeling, really crappy all the time, am I going to be happy? No, I'm going to probably be bitchy. Am I going to be productive? No, I probably don't want to do fuck all. And I'm going to go sit on the couch again and watch Netflix and eat chips and popcorn all day. So this is, with this moon in Cancer, is saying, hey, what do you want to do? Let's start looking in. Mars, it's trying to give the best energy it can. That square off Neptune with Venus. Venus is at 18 degrees now. It's like, she's going in a, not making that square to Neptune. So we're able to get a lot more clear with our thoughts. There isn't so much delusional thoughts coming in with that Neptune energy. So there is some positive energies that are coming in order to help us to bring in that clarity for ourselves and bring that clarity for ourselves in many ways. So, couple things. My mediumship starts this Thursday, which is my grandson's birthday. So I have my mediumship starting up. It's $88. If you want to join, definitely sign up. It's $88. My readings are on a pay scale, a sliding scale from $50 all the way up to $160. If you want to pay more than $160, of course I wouldn't say no. It's up to you. So that's for all my readings. So if you are wanting to book a reading, definitely get in and book a reading, and we will get you in. The other thing is that my intuitive shaman class is going to be starting in June. So we have the intuitive shaman class, and I am bringing back my divination class. So I will be starting a divination class near the end of June. So my divination class is that we learn about the tarot. We learn about oracle cards. We do some scrying. We talk about how to scry. I touch on bone casting and what bone casting is. And we bring in other forms of divination. So if you are interested in divination, Amanda, did you get her past? Yes, Amanda booked in for her past life reading. So she did book in for her past life reading. So she's booked in for Friday for that. And all my stuff is online. So just an FYI, all my stuff is online. So you can, and live and record it so you can get it. So we have that coming up. And let's see what else. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's about it. Oh, I was at Blessed Circle on Saturday, and it was wonderful. She has, she's going to be bringing in a lot more items. So if you are interested in, she has beautiful cloaks that are handmade, woolen cloaks. And I'm thinking I was looking at a couple of them. So with the hood and the whole bit and the clasp, just beautifully done, beautifully made. She has those. She has all, your, she just have some crystals and herbs, and more is coming in every day. So they got more coming in this week. They will be carrying Florida water and a lot of different hoodoo and voodoo items also. So Blessed Circle is down there on 13th Ave Southwest, and the house is 116 years old. So very cool. And everything is done with social distancing, and there's hand sanitizers. And if people need a mask, they do have, a package of surgical masks for people if they want to wear a surgical mask around. But it was pretty good because people were coming in sporadically, so it was quite nice. And I'm down there on Saturday again, this Saturday, doing readings. So if you want a live reading, which does not include my pay scale, so for a live reading and you want to see me, and it doesn't include if you have bought packages from me. Packages are only done with me here. They're not done there. So I used to live on 22nd and 17th Ave before moving to Okotoks. Ooh, cool. Yeah, this is on 2nd and 13th Ave Southwest. So not far from the Low Heat House. And there's a little park and an old school, an old time school, where, what was it? I think it was in 1906 or something, the school across the way. It's a very haunted street. It's a real weird street too. So we're going to see if I got to talk to her, but we might do a little tour, a walking tour of the neighborhood, with and just have maybe, we'll see how things open. It probably wouldn't be till June or July, but it would probably be with just a small group of people of about 5 people, 6 including me, just for a walk around and then come back to the store for mini readings and stuff like that. So we'll see. We're going to wait. We don't want to push things. But I know gatherings are up to 10 now, or 25. Maybe it's 25 now. I'm not sure, that are allowed. But so we'll see. We'll see how things go. A summer one, yeah, that would be cool. A nice little summer one. And then come back, and there's a park across the street too. So if it's a nice evening and everybody brought their blankies and stuff like that, we could probably their blankies. We could sit out on the grass. Right. And sit out on the grass and go past. The Low Heat House is always very interesting to go by. I always pick up the energies. I always see the kids and stuff. There is the, also on the other side, if we go further on the other side, it's called the Wright Hospital, WRIGHT. It's a children's hospital. It was run by the Red Cross in the early 1900s. And it's now an apartment complex. It's an old house, but now it's all divided into apartments. Last time I did a tour around this time, we walked up the stairs And it was like, whoa. And you just sort of walked in. I got so dizzy. Like I wasn't expecting to get that dizzy. And as we walked down, we had to take our time walking down the stairs. It was just like, whoa, there's like, oh, I don't even know how those people sleep. I bet you they get a huge turnaround in there for those apartments. If I knew, it would be cool to know somebody in one of those apartments. It's like, what's happening? And get more info on what it's like to live in that place. So it's really, you know, when you move into older houses and especially ones that have had hospitals, because it was also a tuberculosis hospital, so a lot of children died in that hospital. So it's, you know, you have where, you know, noises down the hallway, crazy things start to happen and things like that. So, you know, so we can do that. I'll talk to Jenna and Andrea and see what they think. And, you know, I think it would be kind of fun just to do something. Probably July and August would probably be a good one. My elementary school is haunted. Oh, really? Yeah. Where was your elementary school? I know Central Memorial here, or Central, no, Western is, well, really haunted because it used to be a boys' school in which one in Inglewood? Because was it an old, hold on, I'm getting all excited. Because where St. Anne's is, St. Anne's school, it's an upgrading school. Yes. Yes, that is. Yes. Oh, that I know I know exactly which one you're talking about. St. Anne's, where my kids did some upgrading, very haunted. Just up the street from them is the Catholic Church, but right in there also is used to be a place for sisters to stay, the nuns to stay, right? And it's crazy. And now it's sort of like a halfway place, home for teenagers and young adults. So, and that place is, it has, they've had issues in there too with water problems and stuff like that. And the water has been, the water problems have been, you know, things have all been upgraded and stuff like that. Saw some weird stuff over the years. Oh, I bet. Yeah, Inglewood is actually a vortex. Like there's an actual vortex within the Inglewood area. I have to be careful in going into Inglewood because there's a certain person that is unnamed, does not want me in there doing tours because she's afraid that I'm going to steal her business. But I won't name her. So I can go in and around Inglewood, but unless I do it under Blessed Circle's name, and I'm just associated it to who is it? I cannot name. Will not name names with this person, but she does have a very popular ghost tour in town and stuff. Fear of Black gets you nowhere. Yeah, well, okay, yeah, I know. I you know what? I get it. I really do get it because I know I was there many, like I've been there where, you know, even at markets or expos and like, oh my God, they're making more money than me. And what am I doing? And da, 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 da. And that fear, oh, maybe I'm charging too much. Maybe I'm not charging enough. What's going on? Maybe somebody's putting a hex on me. Going off in all different directions and stuff. And it's just like, now when I think about it, it's like, oh, it's such my own fear and my own insecurities that caused it. It wasn't anybody else. It was my own. It's mine. And that's the thing. It's like starting to own your feelings, your insecurities. And when you start to own and your own insecurities, that's power. That's power. That's when the goddess stands out there on top of the mountain and on top of the cliff, and the lightning and the thunder's there, and she's standing there in her power. You know, that's what it is to own your power, is to stand there and say, yeah, you know what? I have insecurities. I have these things that are going on inside me. That is that Jupiter Pluto going deeper. uh, and having us go deeper within inside ourselves and say, yeah, I got some crazy shit that goes on. Oh, here comes my, yes. Oh, my husband's going to go do his stuff. BMO.
Your grandson is here. He has his breakfast and everything.
My grandson has his breakfast and everything, and my husband is going out to do his stuff, just to let everybody know. I don't know what his stuff is. Candace says, have a great day, Steve. Thank you, he says. Amanda says, hi, Steve. So yes, so he could get, yeah, I don't know what his stuff is, but he's going to go out and do whatever it is that he has to do. So anyways, so on that note, too funny. Yeah, so insecurity stuff is important too. Yes, stuff is important. But it's our insecurities that get us to a point where it causes jealousy, can have us feel less than. And that, again, when you start taking care of self and take care of your own thing, man stuff. Yeah, are you going to go do some man stuff, Steve? Yeah. He's doing man. He's got to get his stuff for work. So get his little lunch and everything for his work. So when he has to go to work tonight. So, in fact, he's actually going into the Northeast. He's going to go see his sister, actually. So, so he's going to go see his sister and chat and gossip. Because that's what they do. But yeah. Go forward and look at your own insecurities of what's going on, because within communities and stuff like that, we see it. And working, yeah, island families is what we do. Yes, like he's leaving. It's 9:04. It's like 10 to 10 now. He'll be back at 2. But he'll tell you he's only going for like an hour. So everybody knows, Dad's going to the Northeast. Yeah. And then eventually toodle on home. So it's too funny. But yes, he will eventually come on home. But look at, this is too, because we have this moon in Cancer. It is emotional. There is emotions that are going to come up that we have to look at, our deepness, our deep emotions. And, going back to the person unnamed, looking at their own insecurities with all of that. And we all have to make a living. We all have to have our businesses going. But my tours aren't the same as her tours anyways. And I point out ghosts and she doesn't. We talk about feelings of feeling the building, feeling the energies. What do you feel when you walk past this thing? When you pass this house, does this house feel good, bad? And a lot of times, a lot of people don't look at that or even think about it. So when you start to really get into the feel, like, how do I feel when I walk into this home? How do I feel? And that's part of what we're going to be talking about with the mediumship class, right? It is, we're going to talk about, when did you feel off? When did you were sitting somewhere and you got a whiff of something? It could be a whiff of a cigarette, and you're in a building, you're in an office building. Nobody smokes in the office building because, we don't smoke in office buildings anymore. And you keep smelling smoke coming in around you. Someone's smoking. It's like someone's blowing smoke in your face. Or you smell a certain flower comes to you all the time. And that reminds you of your grandmother or your mother or your sister or your brother or whoever, your aunt or a good friend. Those things. So those are things to start to look at. And that's what we talk about in our mediumship class, and bringing in that awareness and understanding of your clairs, and what are your clairs, and what do you feel more in tuned with. So feel, coming into those feelings, would smell perfume and no one around. Yeah. Smelling different things. All kinds of things, maybe even cars. Cars are funny when you buy a car, especially if it's a used one. Sometimes you might feel it's, maybe that car was in an accident, or maybe that car was in a neighborhood, and that person who died, that car reminded them of something. Anyways, they stayed in the car. So all kinds of crazy things like that. I had a girlfriend with a car. Every time she got into it, she'd look in the rear view mirror and she would see a person, and then she's like, what the fuck? And then she'd look and the person was gone. And when she bought it, after they had it for a while, and she said, Maddie couldn't drive it anymore. She says, I got to get rid of it. And she said she told her husband, Rob, she says, we got to get rid of this car. And she asked me, and I said, yeah, the car was in an accident. Whoever died in that car is still in the car. Even though the car has been restored and everything, you wouldn't even know it's in an accident. It was in A1 condition, but that energy of that death of that person was still in that car. So crossing the street when you feel bad energy coming towards you. Yeah. Things like that. There was an accident. Here's another story for you guys. I'm just totally rambling today. When on the overpass of 16th Avenue and 52nd Northeast, there was two young girls, sisters, that went for a walk. And the lights just happened to were burnt out on that side of the highway. And so you couldn't see them walking. And as a car was coming and he didn't see them, I don't know, he lost control and he hit them. One was killed and the other one was in hospital in intensive care. And so anyways, when I woke up that morning, I said, somebody died. And my husband goes like, okay, yeah, well, people die every day, Mary. But as we were going for, as we had to go somewhere, and we went on the 52nd overpass, and we were going on to 16th Avenue, 16th, and we were going east. So we were going east because that's where the accident happened. And as we went east and went on off the ramp onto the east, I said, oh my God, somebody died here. And it was a beautiful blonde-haired young woman, teenage girl. And she sat there, and my husband goes, how come the car got cold? Turn the heat on. I said, no, it's okay, dear. Because she asked me, she goes, I need to find my sister. And I said, your sister's in the hospital. She's in intensive care. And all I got was, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. And that's what I heard. And I drove on. And as I drove past a certain point, she was gone. So that happened several times when we would go past that area. She would sort of pop in. And I think her sister did survive, if I'm not mistaken, but it was a long haul for her in recovery. So it was, yeah. So things like that. I mean, residuals, like people, sometimes they don't pass on right away. She eventually passed on, and went over to the light. Because I would see, as I would drive, I would see her standing on the overpass as I would, onto 16th Ave. And every time I went by there, I just prayed. I said a prayer. I said, please, dear Lord and Lady, please, dear Mother. I asked for the Divine Lord and the Divine Lady to come down, and all the angels to come down to support her and have her go to the other side. Please help her. And I'd say that every single time. And when I'd go past there, or when I thought about it, and eventually I didn't feel her energy there as much anymore. So, but that's the thing, is that some will pass, when we work with energies, and sometimes energies will not go. Sometimes ghosts will not leave. The spirits will stay for whatever reason. They're still anchored. and they're anchored to this earth. And, you know, and there's nothing you can do to have them go over. Same with the little boy on the bridge from the zoo, Calgary Zoo into Inglewood. There is that little boy who was murdered, and people have seen him on the bridge. Now they've redone that bridge, so I'm not sure. I still feel like he's still around there. I don't know his apparition shows up as much. Stories of the security guys where they had a ball. One guy brought a ball because he kept hearing children. He's still there. Okay. And yeah, I figured he is, where they brought a ball to the to work because he kept on hearing kids. So, but he would throw the ball out, and then the ball would come back and hit the door. And then it's like he was playing with the little boy there. And he was killed by, can't remember the guy's name, but he was a transient that came through. But you know the story where at first when they first saw him, he was a stranger, so nobody talked to him. And then the next time the little boy came there, he talked to him because he wasn't a stranger anymore. And he took the child and killed him. And it wasn't the first child. I guess he was up for other cases, or there was other cases up of him being in other cities where children went missing. So it was pretty horrific. But in that area underneath that bridge, there's a lot of crazy shit. I've gotten where it's not only his body there, but I don't like going down there. Like, it's really, I know there's a few young women who've been killed there and stuff like that too. So there's so many crazy things in and around Inglewood. Kensington is another area. So if you guys go around Kensington, I feel more death, like death. Not so much spirit, coming and going and stuff like that is one thing, but feeling that of death, I get in Kensington. I feel death. I hated crossing that bridge as a kid. My granny lives down the street. Oh yeah, it would be, yeah, because you could feel it, right? But Kensington, I feel the death. There is graveyards very close to Kensington, older graveyards. There is also the first, I think part of her ashes are there. The first woman who was killed, I think in Iraq or something, was killed. Plus there's been so many suicides in around Kensington, people jumping off the bridge years ago into the river, because the river used to be a lot higher and faster. And so there's a lot of suicides, overdoses, and things like that in around Kensington. So there's a lot of crazy death there. So, and death is a different feeling than when you feel spirits. It's a heavier type of feeling. At least it is for me. So that's what I feel in Kensington. Even though Kensington's sort of cute and trendy and all this, but it just has that heaviness to it. There's a heaviness that's there, and even though it's really close to the river. So, and then you got Bridgeland. Bridgeland is very close to where it was the other side of the river, but it's the other side of where a lot of the tent brothels were near the late 1800s and early 1900s. So there was a lot of different brothels and stuff, and a lot of people went over on that side of the river and they built their houses and stuff. So, because land was cheaper. So interesting. Anyways, my little stories and stuff of ghosts and that. But it's the feeling of death is heavy and overwhelming for me. Depression, yes, yeah. I feel like when we start to get into our feelings and we start to acknowledge our feelings, then we're able to work with what it is. We were able to, it's able to guiding us so that we are not wallowing in it, and that we are able to transcend ourselves through it and into a better place, and to bring it to a place of where we are happier and feeling more content in our life, and And that's where I feel, going back to the energies of today, that's very much where the energies of today are getting us to go. It's to having us go to a place that's getting us to be more powerful in our lives and having us feeling more powerful in our lives. So there you guys go. That's all I have. I think that's the end of my rambling for today, but yeah, take, nothing's holding us back from taking a walk. So if you want to, take your own little walk around different areas of your town, of your neighborhood, how they feel. Cochrane, where Amanda lives, is really freaking haunted. There's a lot of craziness in downtown Cochrane. So a lot of these littler towns like Cochrane, Okotoks, Airdrie's another little weird one. There are, from settlers and stuff like that. So, yeah, it is. It's just crazy. My number 2 son, the one who was, Mom, whose stuff is that? No. It's, he won't go to Inglewood. He does not like Inglewood at all. Ramsey too. Inglewood, Ramsey. I started clump Inglewood and Ramsey together into one. I put them all together into one. Don't walk downtown. Yeah, downtown Cochrane. Yeah, it's I've had a girlfriend who lived in downtown Cochrane, and it was nutty. She had her I think her coffee table levitated one time, and all crazy things happened to her in their apartment that they lived in, or this little house that they lived in. And she said, well, they did not stay long. Too many crazy things. And it was very difficult for her to keep the energy in a calmness, right? So if you're constantly having to keep the energy calm, it's hard for you to keep other things going on in your life if that becomes, because it can suck you in different ways. So, that's the thing, is that when you have a house that's really active and stuff, and you're constantly cleansing and clearing, it can really take a lot of energy from you in doing that, even though you're cleansing and clearing and doing all of that. But you want to live your life, right? You just don't want to be cleansing and clearing all the goddamn time. So you don't want to be doing that. Just, at least I don't. I like to be in a place where, okay, I cleansed, I cleared, I feel calm today, and I'll feel calm tomorrow. So doing it on a continual basis can take a lot of toll out of you, physically, mentally, and spiritually. So you got to be aware of that too. So a lot of people think, oh, well, this is nothing, I just do this all the time. It's like, sometimes it's not a good thing to be doing it all, to be having to do that on a continual basis. Just saying. As it does take a toll of you. So I'm going to send you guys out with so much love, right? It's difficult to clear houses in town, a lot of the negative earth spirits. Yeah. A lot of things. Farmers. You're also in an area where there's, that was native land. A lot of natives were killed down in that area. Slaughtered actually, and farmers coming in there, settling, the railway, all of that fun stuff, the things that we used to do in the Great West, right? All for civilization. So let's fuck everything up for civilization. And now we're finding our civilization is very fragile, and we're finding that there's a lot of kinks in our chain in how we are able to get the things that we need to get in this world. So it's very interesting. So anyways, you guys have a great day. Go out, enjoy. I think it's supposed to be nice today. Let me just look at my weather. Oh, it's supposed to be 19 today, but cloudy. And I can tell my allergies, I've already taken allergy medicine, but my allergies are starting to act up. So trees and everything are blossoming. And yeah, go out and have a fabulous day, guys. And shine your light. Don't let anybody allow you to dim your light. And may the Lord and the Lady watch over you and bless you in all you do and all you say and all you be. Blessed be everybody. If you want to join the mediumship class, get a hold of me. let's come on in. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.